In this example, we look at calculating the variance based on being given some raw data. And there's a little setup here. It says you have 4 chickens on your farm. You record the number of eggs each chicken lays in a week. Find the variance. Okay, so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to follow the formula. Let me set this up. We're going to follow the formula that variance is equals to the sum of squares over n. Now, the sum of squares, that's equals to, let's put that off to the side here, the sum of your squared deviations. And a deviation is each score minus the mean. So I need to know what the mean is first. Then I'm going to take each score and subtract the mean and find my deviations. To find the mean, I have to sum up all of my scores and divide by n. So let's do that first. Sum up these scores, and I get the sum of x equals to how much? 10 plus 12, that's 22. Another 8 makes 30. Another 20 makes 50. And if I want to find the mean, that's going to be the sum of x over n. That's going to be 50 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, divided by 4. That should be 12.5. So my mean is 12.5. But they didn't ask me for the mean, they asked me for the variance. So I have to start off by finding my deviations. Now, in this case, with a formula like this, a formula like the sum of squares, you need to pay attention to the order of operations. Anytime you have something happening to your values, like anytime something is happening to x, we need to pay attention to whether we have brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, or subtraction, because we do them in this order, starting from the top, working our way down to the bottom. If you have any troubles with this, or if you don't remember this from high school, or if you don't recognize these initials here, brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, then have a look at my notes from I have some videos from your appendix, or dealing with the lessons taught in your appendix and just the basic math that you're going to need for going through formulas like this. So I'll have a link to that. All right, so do we have brackets? Yes, we do. What's in the brackets? That has to come first. X minus the mean is in the brackets. So that's why my very first column has the brackets and everything that needs to happen in the brackets. So even though subtraction comes at the very end, because there is subtraction in the brackets, we do that first. So what is x minus the mean? Well, it's going to be different for each different x. My first x is a 10. I do 10 minus 12.5, and that gives me negative 2.5. Then I have to do 12 minus 12.5. That's going to give me negative 0.5. And then 8 minus 12.5 is, let's see, that's negative 4.5. And 20 minus 12.5 is positive 7.5. Now, if I've done my math right, this has to add up to be 0. And it does. Negative 2.5 plus, or negative 2.5 take away another half, that's negative 3. Take away another 4.5, that's negative 7.5. Bring in the positive 7.5. That cancels out and I've got a 0. So I've taken care of the brackets. Next, I do exponents. I do have an exponent. There is a squared in the formula. So I have to take my values that I've just worked out and square them. So negative 2.5 squared is positive. Remember, anytime you square something, you're always going to get a positive result. Negative 2.5 squared is positive 6.25. 0.5 squared is 0.25. 4.5 squared is, how much is that? That's 20.25. And 7.5 squared, that one comes out to be 56.25. Now, I've taken care of my exponents. There's no division in the sum of squares that I'm dealing with here. Don't have multiplication, but there is addition. This symbol here, the summation symbol, means that I have to add everything up. So when I add up this column, that's going to give me the sum of the column, the sum of what's in the column. The column is all about my squared deviations. So when you add up these values here, this comes out to be, let's see, that comes out to 1. This comes out to be 83. So this is my sum of squares. I've summed up my I've summed up the squared deviations. So I have my sum of squares. So let's make a bit of room to show that. So here I'm going to carry this on. So my variance is equals to the sum of squares, which is 83, divided by n. N is the number of data points we have, the number of scores we have. So there are 4 scores. So we've got 83 divided by 4. Calculate that out. That comes out to 20.75. That is my variance, and so that answers this question.